Who is Hendog?
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 I am Hendog.
The beautiful city of Winchester. This is where the story of Hendog starts. A city full of life and joy, and of course, art. Hendog is an anonymous street artist who travels around Hampshire creating intricate pieces of art using spray paint. No one knows their name and no one has ever seen their face, but it's about time we learn who is Hendog behind the mask. Who is he? Where is he from? And what does he actually do?
So I'm a stencil artist. So the way that works is it's the breaking down and the reconstruction of an image. So you've seen it with Banksy, and there are a lot of other notable artists like Black the Rat who do it. So what I do is I draw an image. That image gets split into colours. Those colours get cut into card, and then so you have like say 10 layers of card of all different colours, and then you reconstruct it on a wall. So it's kind of like it's more of an engineered version of art. Yeah, it's really cool. I think every piece is different. I like to target some local social issues. So the bear is inspired by a true story about a homeless man and his journey through the streets, how he got there. And the reason I thought it was important to tell that story was because I wanted to bridge the gap between homelessness and, you know, not being homeless. So I wanted to create relatable issues so that people could understand how somebody could get to this position. Because it's easy to, you know, judge for drug use or alcohol use or all these things when it comes to the homeless, but I wanted to explain how this particular person got there, why he was taking drugs, to hopefully make people understand that you probably would if you're in that situation too.
Yeah.
So that story was inspired by a real guy. All of my other pieces are based on something that I call joyful nostalgia. It's just about being a kid and, you know, being separated from that but remembering what it is. So I'm trying to hit somebody on their commute to work who's a little bit fucking in the dumps. You know, and they see a kid making a daisy chain and it makes them think about their childhood and kind of it's uplifting. But Chain to a Daisy was the first piece that I ever did that I stepped back from and I thought it was good. And everything on the night went perfectly, all of my stencils lined up really well. It was flawless in putting it on the wall, and that's why it's my favourite. So I grew up in Winchester. I grew up on a council estate here. It was just kind of like a normal, very basic, you know, childhood growing up. I went to King's School here, which is a secondary school at the top of Stanmore. I've always kind of been into art and good at art all the way through growing up. So from a kid I did it at school as well, but I didn't take it seriously at all until the pandemic. And then during the pandemic I got really into it because lockdown was shit for everybody, so I just kind of picked it back up as a hobby, and that's when I released my first piece, and it just kind of went off. So I didn't, even though I was good at art, I didn't take it seriously until really, really recently.
To get a deeper understanding about Hendog and his work, I put myself in his shoes. He took the time to show me how to paint in his style of work, a step-by-step guide to learning the ins and outs of graffiti art. So I set out to create one of his signature pieces, the famous pigeon.
So for your first bit, all you're going to do, I do have some white somewhere that I'll get you because your hands will get a little bit of paint on them. But essentially, as you go down, just push it down slightly with the same kind of, it's just like a half push. It's just, yeah. It's just like that. And then just push down the sides as you go until you have a complete block colour.
It's I always thought it would be easier than this. It's really not.
It's like, the way I describe it is it's like painting with your deodorant, right?
How do you do this way? This way?
I would go the other way, just to keep it at the same angle. More colours. So like pieces like this will get, they're darker tones anyway, so the darker tones will go over, and then we just let that dry just slightly, because if you lay the next stencil on while it's still wet, it will tear all the paint off before it.
Wow.
Because the paper will absorb it and then just rip it off. So you just let it harden up a little bit. So all I'm doing now is I just need to match up the four corners, just so it sits perfectly. And then we're going to go in with Yosemite as a block colour, so you can go quite heavy with this one. I'll let you do that. Perfect. And then this next one's Buzzard, which is just one shade lighter. It's just to lighten up the Yosemite. So we have 10 colours that will turn into 12, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then you just go over the top like that. So a little bit more distance, and that's perfect. And then take this one off.
It's hard to see what you've done and what you haven't done.
Yeah, usually the stencils are new and white, but this one was kind of a last minute deal for penny, so I used the ones that I used for the originals, because they are reusable. So what we're going to do with this one is we're going to go in with just a block of asphalt just throughout, and then I'll darken it up a little bit after. So this one's just going to be quite light. We're just going to lighten up the areas a little bit, just like that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You can just see how it builds, like layer by
Yeah.
layer. You've only got 2 more layers and then you're done. This last one seems pointless, but it's actually really important. So this is just highlights. It knocks everything back. If you don't have this one, then the next one is the highlight, and it's too much. And it also puts the sparkle in his eye. Perfect.
After learning all about the process, it's clear to see that this art form isn't just painting on walls, and the time and effort put into every piece is far more complicated than we could ever imagine. But what made him choose this career?
It wasn't really a thing. So like I say, I grew up in a council estate. I grew up in a really, really low income family. Like, a career in art isn't a normal. Like, it's not something, like, my mum, she didn't earn a lot of money. She was a single parent, but she doesn't buy art, so she doesn't know about the market of art. It's not something that you would ever encourage somebody to do because you don't know what it is. So we were encouraged into normal jobs. So I was a chef for 10 years before I got into art, but we were encouraged to, you know, go to college and be a tradie. Like, if you're a tradie in a council estate, you were like the shit. So yeah, we were pushed into that. University was never talked about, like anything like that. It was, you know, how can you have a slightly better life than you have now? This is how you know, achieve that. Yeah. So we were kind of further pushed towards like the military than anything, which we all kind of said no. But yeah, that was kind of where we were pushed. But yeah, art would have been crazy. Even when I started, it was still crazy. It was one of those things that I had to prove first and then say this works, and then she was like, oh, okay, cool. You know, the police have pulled over. I've explained who I am and what I do, and they're like, okay, cool. But it's never been, I've never been arrested or anything like that. Yeah, it's been fairly seamless. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say that the police couldn't find out who I am. They absolutely could, but it would be effort for them to do it. So it kind of makes sense to have this barrier between us. And the second reason is I have no desire to be known. I'm perfectly okay with my life exactly how it is. I like going for a coffee and walking around Tesco's and stuff like that. I don't need to be spotted out anywhere. I just think as long as I can keep painting, I'm happy. I've got a lot of ideas that I kind of want to push forward. It's not a cheap hobby. So yeah, I'm not too fussed about being the #1 artist in the world. I don't really care about anything like that. But as long as I can keep painting and I can keep, you know, pushing my work out into the streets, I'm happy.